Okay, well, it's been an interesting 24 hours, or the right now we're still Georgia's like a dead heat. It's within like less than 2,000 votes. Uh, Pennsylvania is getting really close. That's really close. Arizona, on the other hand, is tightening. Nevada is kind of not much of a difference. So. Nothing has been resolved in the last 24 hours. North Carolina, we've got no new numbers from North Carolina in the last 24 hours. Wisconsin, all the numbers came in. Biden's up by 20,000 now, which is pretty much, I think that's kind of like the margin last time for Trump was just 20,000. So it's really that close. So that's where we're at now. Behind me, I've got, you can see on the screen there. You can see on the screen I've put up the polls, and you can see I've got comparing reality, the bright dark red line there, and the blue are the kind of Democratic leaning polls. The red is the one, this was the national polling, right? The national polling. So the red, the one that's the Rasmussen poll, Rasmussen Reports poll, that's the one kind of Republican leaning poll. And then you had a couple in the middle there. And you can kind of see where I said it was about 4. And you can kind of see where I kind of got right in there a little bit to the north of reality. But that's where I was, right in. And you can look at all that. Look at up there, all those blue leaning polls. We'll talk a lot more about that. But the reason why I'm putting that up is because it kind of leads in to what's going on, and what's going on is it's chaos. I mean, it's a chaotic situation, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. This is a worst case scenario. What I couldn't imagine a worst case scenario than what's going on right now. Now the one of the reasons is all of that polling that kind of got the Democratic voters all ginned up to thinking that they were going to get this blowout. So they were just entitled to win. That they were just going to win this election. That there was no way they were going to lose. Not this time. Not like last time. So, but reality has come in, and you can see that's that 2.5 right now. I think 2.6, just a little bit north of where the last time north of Clinton, and it might be enough. I mean, my gut feeling is, Biden's going to win. That's my gut feeling, but it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. I don't like it. So what's happening is it's all because of the slow counting, all this mail-in balloting. Now I understand why it's happened. I mean, I understand why it's happened. You've got this pandemic. It makes sense that it's happened, but it's the way it's been done. The way that they've done it. See, the Democrats wanted to make sure that they made it as liberal as possible. And really, what they didn't think was that by doing, they thought, well, they needed to do that, that was to get their voters out and all that. But what it's done, think about it. You had this big lead in Michigan, and it turned over. You had Trump had a 700,000 vote lead in Pennsylvania. That's melted away to almost nothing. He had the big lead in Georgia, and now that's almost gone. Curiously enough, he's coming back in Arizona. Now the late votes in Arizona are kind of working in his favor. So the funny thing is, well, now they're all for counting in Arizona, but they want to stop the counting everywhere else. It's like, come on, And let me get started with Trump. Let me get that out of the way. He's acting. I mean, what could we have expected, right? He's acting so unpresidential. I mean, he's acting so unpresidential. Now, the way that he could be doing this is to have his lawyer, and not Rudy Giuliani, okay? Not Giuliani, but some smart person, and calm smart person to just say we're going to work through the process. We're going to take all of the legal steps that we need, and this is how we're going to do it. But no, he's got to inflame the situation as much as possible, act aggrieved, get his supporters as riled up. What does it do to get his supporters riled up, other than to feel like the result is illegitimate? But on the other hand, this has been brought on because of this this whole thing, because he was able to say that these polls were fake, and they were fake. They were fake. He was right. They're fake. That's all you can say is look at that. There's reality. All those, look how they're all way up there. None of them were in. They just almost nobody was in touch with reality except for right around the IBD, TIPP, the Hill Harris X, and Rasmussen. I've got this one more JTN RMT. Not really. They were a little bit above, but everybody else was like way north, ridiculously north. So that was he was able to set the table up. It just fed into the narrative of fake news, fake polls, everything fake. They're out to steal this from us. This kind of I guess it riled up the base and it got up the turnout. But now it's just he's doing these. He's getting out and speaking, and it's just shut up. Shut the frig up. Doggone it. Just shut up. Let some calm person, pursue what you should do. That's right. And I got to give Biden credit. Biden has looked presidential. He's looked presidential. He got up, he's appealing for calm. And, obviously he's in the driver's seat. And I think he's going to win, I think he's going to win. And he's in the driver's seat. But it's the right thing, He's looking presidential, and Trump is acting like Trump has always acted. And I gotta say, I was thinking about how the relationship between Trump and the media, these people like CNN and all, they love Trump. These people actually love Trump. It feeds their viewers, and then Trump can use it to feed his greed, to play the fake media card. It's actually this sick codependency. It's a really sick codependency, and maybe the best thing to happen. Trump loses, all these idiots media, they go out of business, because actually the worst thing that could happen to them, the only thing worse than if Trump winning is Trump losing, for these people, so. It's just not a pretty situation. And so why we gotten into this, it's because of this mail-in balloting. And you say, well, don't you want to open up democracy? Yeah, but the optics of this, the optics are for the passionate Trump voters, the passionate supporters, it looks like they're getting screwed. It looks like they're getting screwed. And I'm telling you, this is the thing that I hope they never do this. These states don't allow this mail-in balloting. And you might say, well, yeah, but there's states that do mail-in balloting. We've got California, Oregon, Washington, all those West Coast states, and Colorado. They either all or mostly, a mail-in balloting. You say, well, it's worked there. Well, the reality is the reason why it's worked, and the reason why you've never heard about this, unless you live in those states and have seen what happens in a close race, is that the presidential level, at the presidential level, all of those states now, even Colorado, they're all they're one-party states in presidential elections. So as soon as the moment the polls close, then they just declare that the Democratic candidate won the election. But the reality is that it takes California a month. It takes a month. I've in past elections, I've watched how the returns come in California. It's like day after day. It dribbles in, and you could have some close house race, and it just drags out, and it comes in so slow. There's no hurry to count the votes in California. And Washington State's almost as bad. Because again, it's so liberal, Washington State's all mail-in balloting. They're just not in any hurry to count the vote. Well, we found out now what happens in a close election. You see, you have those states, it never mattered. Unless you lived in those states, you never paid any attention to it. Now you're finding out. Now you're finding out. And let me tell you, think about it. Let's think about this. Okay, the more different ways that you open up for voting, you think that's great for democracy. Not really. Not really, because the more that you open up the various ways that people can vote, the more that you introduce the chance that bad actors can step in and abuse and manipulate the system. That's the reality. And people need to take a look at that and look what's happening now. Now, I think that probably 99%, the people that are running these elections, they're doing their best. The people that are counting the votes, 99% of the people they're all doing their best. But there's so many channels, there's so many places that it could go wrong. It's not like having people go to the polls, and you got 1,000, 2,000, how many, not many polling stations around any given state. You can kind of control it. And yeah, you can have absentee ballots for, it's important to have it. I live in Japan, and I need that so I can participate in the electoral process. I love my country, and I want to be able to participate. Even though I live abroad, I want to be able to, I care, and I want to be able to participate. And it's important for me to have a mail-in ballot. But to have this mass mail-in ballot, it's what's going to come out of this is that whoever loses, it doesn't matter who, they're going to think that they've been cheated. The legitimacy of the whole process is there's going to be there's no sense of legitimacy. There's going to be no closure. If you think there was no closure the last time, there's no closure. There will be no closure, and the Republicans are going to probably take the Senate. So believe me, they'll be gumming things up for the next 4 years. I'll talk more about that in another video about really the outcome, the results of the election, when we really get more of a picture, a final picture of what the whole situation will be. So I'm really worried. I'm really worried about this. The way that this is dragging out, the behavior of Trump. It's legitimate. To the challenges they're making are legitimate. I mean, don't kid yourself. They are legitimate, and the way that the main press is treating as if they're just trying to steal the election. Well, many of the things they're complaining about are legitimate, because there's law. There's the law. There's every state, they've got to follow the law. There are laws that govern these things, and you have to follow the law. You can't make stuff up. You've got to do it. There's a reason for rule of law. You have rules, and you have to follow those rules. And so that's legitimate. But the way Trump doing these press conferences, and it's just, it's not good. And I just wish he would shut up. It's not. I know it's way too much to ask. It's just way too much to ask. But this, obviously, I'm going to be watching this. We're going to see how this plays out. I think in the next 24 hours, who knows? Who knows? Georgia's probably going to be within a couple thousand votes one way or the other. Pennsylvania will probably be within 50,000 votes. It's probably Biden's going to win Pennsylvania. Arizona, that's close. Who knows what's going to happen? Arizona's probably going to be. It's one thing to have these close states, but to have it in like this mail, the slow kind of counting like this, it's just bad. It's really bad. And what do I think should be done? I'll tell you what I think should be done. What they should do is make something national thing where there's 4 days of voting, and only have mail-in, absentee and mail. If you absolutely can't get to the polls, if you really have a real serious legitimate need, otherwise make the polls open from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, make Monday and Tuesday national holidays. That should be a national holiday. The federal election days should be a national holiday. It's just crazy. So have the polls open on the weekend, so that whatever religion, whatever your situation, so that you can get to the poll. Maybe have a few other days of voting in advance of that. Have something like that, but make something like that where you've got to have it where people go to the polls, they vote in person, and you check. You've got to have they got to get IDs. This thing about not needing an ID to vote, that's stupid. That's stupid. People, you should bring your ID. Make sure that it's everything, so that nobody. But also make sure that you have plenty of polling spaces. An interesting thing that we found out here: these stupid Republicans who've been the ones that have been trying to limit they're thinking, well, we got to limit the vote in order to to win elections. Hopefully those stupid people have found out that millions more vote, and actually they won seats in the House. They nearly won the presidency in an incredible year, and they're probably going to hold the Senate. So stop it. Just make sure that people can vote. Make sure that let everybody vote that want to. Reduce make it easy, but make sure that everybody feels like it's fair. Have a in-person voting, ID, enough days of voting, make sure election day is a federal holiday, all of that to reform the system. At any rate, mail-in is a disaster. I just hope it never happens again. I hope that they've learned their lesson. Probably not, but I hope they do. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.